We're not against rap. We're not against rappers. But we are against those.
Something big about to happen. I hear the beat tapping. We some fly rhyming felines rapping on the track. Better yet, grab a gat, cause we hot like Enzo. Doors closed, windows up, cause that's the way we like to ride. Windy City hitting. Check mic 1 2 1 2. We live, baby.
Yo, 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 what's up, Chicago? And welcome back to Speak Your Mind Radio, episode 572. I'm your hostess with the mostest, Queen Star, aka MzHipHop. Yes, and today I will be talking to multi-talented Detroit-based singer, songwriter, pianist, and producer Reggie Braxton and his newly released album, the Brax-Tone Experience Deluxe. Plus, we'll discuss the essence behind his signature soulful voice. So without further ado, bringing up next to the mic, the one and the only Reggie Braxton. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. You say MzHipHop? What do you go by?
MzHipHop.
MzHipHop. Okay. All right. I'm doing good. I'm honored to be able to be on this podcast with you. And already I just see you know, this positive vibe that you have. And so I'm excited already.
I'm happy to hear that, Reggie. I'm really happy. Before we get started, I got to give a big, huge shout out to Makita. Thank you so much for helping me, you know, bring this artist to me, Reggie Braxton, because without you, I wouldn't know who he was. And I'm glad I know who he is. So big salutes.
Yeah. Salute, Makita.
Yes, Makita. Okay.
I thank her too for you as well.
Oh, what was that?
I thank her for you as well, making the introduction. She's wonderful at what she does.
Definitely. Okay, so Reggie, you know, here at Speak Your Mind Radio, we like start off every interview with a traditional icebreaker question for all the artists. So let's get started.
All right.
Okay, man, is it really true that Melvin Franklin, one of the original members of the Temptations, was your cousin?
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah. I tell people all the time, but his Melvin Franklin, but his name prior to Franklin was English, right? And that's my grandmother's name was English. They were Englishes too. And so Melvin's mother, dad, and my grandmother, father were like brothers. And so when she married her husband at the time, he adopted and gave Melvin his name, which was Franklin. So that's probably a little known fact, but you probably could Google it, probably tell you that. Yeah. So he's really my cousin. So it was fun, you know, just being associated. It's not like we hung out or anything like that. You know, it was an age difference, but we certainly had a chance to feel the excitement because whenever they had shows, we had a chance to go behind stage, and then he would always acknowledge us, saying, "Hey, you know, you hear a lot of people coming in, but these are my real cousins right here." So he was always very kind with that, and so that was kind of sweet. Yeah.
Oh man, that's kind of dope though. I ain't gonna front with you. Like, I'm serious. I just can't believe it. Like, so how did you feel being backstage while he was like performing with the group and everything? That had to have been so cool.
Yeah, you know, they would be putting so much energy. It's funny, each interview is different, but they would be putting so much energy into that performance. So when they got behind stage, they would just be exhausted. He was really like, you know, he was one of the better dancers that in the group. So, but yeah, so you go behind and they're relaxed, trying to get this up together, whatever. But it was cool because, you know, they were like bigger than life, you know. And then you go behind stage and everybody just down to earth, good people, and they just like me and you know. But had the opportunity of being blessed to be on a world stage. It was from time to time I'll think about that experience, and always was hoping, hey, maybe one day, you know, something like this, which is so far-fetched, could happen to me. And I'm talking about many, many years ago when I was a kid.
So what was the age difference, the age gap between you two?
Oh man, I don't know. 20, something like that. I don't know. I have never thought about that, but yeah. It was a big day. It was a big difference. He was a grown man, and I was a kid.
Mm-hmm. That
Yeah,
is dope. That's cool.
yeah.
Um, okay, so Reggie, before we what I'm saying, dive into the music, if you could describe your sound as a flavor, what would it taste like and why?
A flavor. Oh man. Man, that's interesting. A flavor. Maybe something warm. Maybe like hot chocolate or caramel or something that's like warm and smooth.
Yeah.
So maybe some maple syrup or something,
Mm.
pancakes, hot maple syrup, warm. So maybe something like that, smooth. I remember when we used to sing, coming up singing with some of the groups like Dramatics, and it was this guy Eddie Beckham. He had like the sweetest first tenor, and he would always say, "Red, you got the sweetest baritone." You know what I'm saying? So, I would say that maybe some maples because I like maple syrup on my pancakes, and so I think I've heard my people say my voice is warm, and then I'm thinking about Eddie said, "Man, you got that sweet," so maybe something warm and sweet.
I like that. I can see that happening. Like when
Yeah,
I listen to you
yeah.
sing, like, yeah, I can see something sweet and warm and
Uh,
brownish. You know what I'm saying? Like
Thank
I
you.
like that.
And now when you hit me with something no one's ever asked me anything like that, so it's kind of off the cuff, but I'm glad I was able to come up with something.
Yeah. I'm glad you were too. That was an excellent answer. Okay, so now we know that you are from the city of Motown music. So how has that musical heritage shaped your sound and your style?
Hmm. Yeah, well, I think, and I think I mentioned that before. I think in Detroit, and I've read this and heard on many documentaries that some of the great artists, when they ready to roll their music out, they know when they come to Detroit, you know, Detroit is gonna give you what the real deal is. And so if your stuff is on, they're gonna really acknowledge you and encourage you. But at the same time, if your stuff is not ready, then it's gonna be the same way. So it's really a litmus test when you come to Detroit. And so coming up and growing up in Detroit here, we know basically, we trying to put this sound down, but we got a lot of great history. So when you're ready to put something out, you need to put the work in because you got something that's already established as a greatness. So when you're trying to get to a certain level, I think that makes you work harder and at your craft because you listen to that music even to the day. This music still sounds great. And so I think it's important to, put everything you have in it, and so you can get the best, the best what you have to offer. So I don't know if that explains it, but yeah,
No, that definitely
you
explains.
got to bring it, basically, because it's you love it, but you want to get to a high level, whereas your music is enjoyable. First of all, to yourself. I remember a long time. I never even I was trying to record myself and I would hear it back. I said, piano, it's not it. And other people say, oh, it sounds good. I'm to myself, it ain't there, it ain't there. And then so now, MzHipHop, I enjoy music that I've put out. I really like what I hear now. But it took me a long time to get to a point where I really enjoyed things that I was able to put together. And so that holds true even to the day. I like my sound,
Yeah, I like your sound too. And speaking of your sound, back in the day, how did you find your voice?
That's interesting. Some people, they're good at sounding like others, they can emulate different voices. And so I never really had that talent that I could sound like someone else, that type of thing. For the things that were happening at that time, because most of the time, other than my cousin Melvin, of course, he had that deep bass. He has a legitimate true bass sound. I'm more of a baritone, somewhere in between, baritone, second, somewhere in between. So and then I learned early on, when you singing, it's what's my interpretation, So I get into the lyric and I think about what I'm singing. And then, in between these 8 keys, you find your voice, and you learn to sing in key. And so whatever that is, that's your voice. And then with the repetition, you get comfortable singing those melodies, Yeah. So I think that's pretty much how it starts, and then, we have, I'm studious about the music too. So, it's everything has been done before. And if you're curious enough about, toning your craft and what you're doing, then it's always some answers there that can help you in your pursuit, in terms of, as you said, finding your own voice and things like that. Because nothing is new, So if you read about your favorite vocalists or people that you like, it's somewhere in there where you can find out how to get to what you're trying to do, which for the most part is practice, And I had read something before with Quincy Jones. It was some book that Quincy Jones, I don't know if it wasn't his biography, it was another book he had. And he was saying, hey, you study the greats, you study the people who really done. He said, these are your best teachers. And then yourself is, you're going to come out of that, but you're studying from people who have really already been accomplished.
No, that's true. That's the best advice to be given, because how could you foresee the future without emulating the past, the
Right.
people that came before you?
Right.
So I definitely understand that. So now, do you feel any pressure or pride carrying that Detroit music legacy into the new generation?
No, I just have such a love for the music. It's no pressure. I think that, when I sit down behind this piano, I get up and I'm performing something, I'm doing something. This is just a love that you have. So it's no pressure because, I'm doing something that I really enjoy. And so it took as I said before, it took a long time to get to this position, whereas I enjoy what I do. And I'm a professional, so I know that for the most part, if I'm not off key, if I'm doing, into what I'm doing, somebody's gonna say, hey man, I like what you're doing, it sounds good to me, So I don't feel any type of pressure like that. To get the pressure, it's like, once I sit down, I hear myself, I hear the music, and then it's a whole nother world. So you kind of get lost into the music, that type of thing.
Definitely. You do get lost in the music, because I know I got lost listening to Brax-Tone Experience. And speaking of which, now we're talking about the new generation and how you covered different artists such as Drake, Passion Fruit.
Yeah.
Man, that was my joint right there. I was like, look at Reggie, he going off on this song, like for real. Like, do you have something to say to Drake? Have you met Drake yet? Did he hear it?
No. But so everything that you hear, it's funny you mentioned that too. I love that song, And so when I was getting ready to record it, somebody was saying, I don't know about that. I said, and then I was doing the tune on my gigs too. I started doing it, and I would get like a really good reception. And no matter what I do, people would always say, I have a little jazzy flavor to it. And so even when I decided that I wanted to record it, sometimes, that's the end. When you have something you feel strong about, you can't let nobody talk you out of what your dream is. I just heard T.I. say that too. I was listening to T.I. He say, your dream and vision is yours. So if nobody else can see it, that's okay. And don't let nobody talk you out of your dream and your vision, because that's yours. And so that was a good case in point with doing Passion Fruit. And so when I got into the tune, and so any song that I do, I really listen to these lyrics, because I want to try to figure out what am I singing about? And so what's my interpretation? So, I talk a little bit in there. I talk about, hey, I ain't playing it. I ain't got time for that. So I kind of visualize, he was into this girl, and it just wasn't working out, And so he said, hey, let's just get back to this. So I kind of, internalized what was happening, because they're all stories. So I'm like a storyteller. And so whether it's hip hop, or something Drake doing, or something Frank Sinatra doing, something Luther, you know, they all are stories. And how do I get into this story? How can I relate? And so me being seasoned OG, almost every situation, any song that I'm singing, I got a story or something I can relate to that story. Yeah. If I can't relate to it, then I don't really want to mess with it. But I can relate to that passion fruit. And so I kind of spoke to that in the song, you know, the vocal part, you know, in the song. So, but I love Drake's music, you know, so thank you for even acknowledging that. I don't think anybody said anything, but actually what happened when I first recorded, it was some place, some radio station out in California that was playing it for a minute. You know, they heard it and then started playing it. So it's flattering, and that's what we do music for too. My dream is always like, you know, the reason why I'm in music, because you're listening to some of the people I loved and play over and over again. I say, hey, you know, when somebody grab my stuff and say, man, I like that, and put it on rewind, man, that's the greatest compliment you have. So thank you for that.
Oh, you're very welcome. I had to say something because I'm a big Drake fan too. And yeah. The fact that you said what T.I. said, don't let nobody talk you out of your position, you know, especially if the Most High gave you the idea. Like, you keep forth.
Absolutely. And a lot of times, too, you know, you have to make a decision on your own. You know what I'm saying? It's not like somebody, and even in business, I'm in business, too. When you have ideas and things like this, people try to talk you out of your vision, try to talk you out of your ideas. But absolutely, if you feel strong about something, don't let nobody talk you out of it. You know, and I'm a living testimony how it, you know, it works, you know, because if you feel it works and you ain't nobody's trying to BS yourself, then you know, okay, let's roll with this.
Definitely. Yeah. And speaking of, you know, some of my favorite tracks off the Brax-Tone Experience Deluxe, I want to get into the one you, for me, I can't get out my head your voice when you sing it. It was by Anthony Hamilton, The Best of Me.
Oh, yeah.
It's playing in my head right now. Like, you know.
You know, that's interesting. So I wanted to complete it. And so I done some original music. And so I was thinking about songs that I really like. And so that song there, my wife, when I first started dating her, she really always wanted me to play because she, you know, I do a lot of jazz. I was doing a lot of jazz type stuff. And so the R&B tunes, I would always, it's not like Marvin Gaye. He loved, I don't know if this, I'm kind of digressing, but Marvin, I don't know if you know this, Marvin Gaye, he had this thing where he wanted to be like a jazz singer, like Marvin Gaye sings Nat King Cole or sings Frank Sinatra or that type of thing. And so he really liked that jazz and standard style. But he said, Marvin, yeah, we understand you like it, but this what your fans love you doing this sexy stuff over here. You know what I'm saying? So I can kind of relate to that. But so I love the standards and I know a lot of jazz songs and things like that. But sometimes when I would do tunes like Anthony Hamilton or some other R&B, Marvin Gaye, and you know everybody perk up and kind of, you know, was happy to hear that. So that tune, Best of Me, was one of the songs I used to do on my gigs. And so my wife said, baby, you should do that one. And so any tune that I do, I always try to make that song mine. So if you listen to that song, if you go to the bridge, you know, that part in the bridge. So I put lyrics in there. I say, when I'm with you, I feel so good inside. No matter what we do, time just flies. You know, so I added lyrics to that bridge there. So which kind of makes it, you know, wanted to make the tune my own. And but yeah, thank you for even, you know, and I realized in any of these songs, I have to find my voice and find my feel with the song, you know. Mm-hmm. But that's what I've tried to do with the songs that I've covered. Get into what the story is and then see what Reggie Braxton can do.
Yeah. And speaking of more standout tracks, I guess I just go ahead and skip along because you know the one standout track that everybody know is Next Lifetime by Miss Erykah Badu herself. Man, you had the video for it too? You were looking good, sounding good. I was like, yes.
Yeah, thank you. You know, I'm a big fan of Erykah Badu, you know. She got them eyes too, you know, as well as attributes. Beautiful voice. Anyway, yeah, I wanted to, I actually started that tune back in 2012.
Wow.
Because I said, you know, I love the tune. I used to play it all the time. It was actually my favorite, you know, I think it's my favorite song out of all the songs she's recorded. And so I used to sing it. I changed it from a man's perspective, you know. And so, you know, fast forward, it was just burning at me to do this my way. You know, and so I sang the same key that she did, and but I had sung the song so many times, so it was just burned. I knew the song, and I just did it my way, and it kind of worked. It worked out pretty good. And then you know, just after you do it so many times, you find yourself, where is my groove? And so a lot of times, if you listen to my songs all the way through, it's like, going out, I'll have some other stuff going on with that. Yeah. So,
yeah, because you add yourself to it.
Yeah.
Make it memorable, you know, for the listeners.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I all the songs on there, I really, really love. The covers I did is songs that it just came out, you know, okay, this is next. And then, you know, it helps too to have a great producer. You know, I got a young guy who is guy's name is Chris Bivens, and he is the musical guy for Chris Brown. So he actually was an award-winning producer. He was able, was it Jennifer Holliday? I think it was Jennifer Holliday. She got a song I really like, and then they got Timberland. He's the producer, and then she told me, well, you gotta have a producer. I love this. I can't think of the name of it, but he said you gotta have a good producer, and that's true.
It's true
because they take your ideas and then they can expand on it. They're gonna lock them drums up, you know, do whatever you need to do to like building it like a painting. You know, you start off with this, and then when these guys get through, then you really got something special. So, you know, that helps out too, you know, in terms of when you're trying to put a project together, to have the right talented people around you. You know, my boy Jay Powell, he on the background, so he was with UNV, and really good at doing harmonies and things like that, you know, which helped me, you know, because I had always just been singing just by myself. So that was something that it was fun being able to start doing harmonies as well. So a lot of stuff is like I, you know, do different notes, and then he would come maybe add a note. So I really enjoyed the harmonies that was added in a lot of the songs that on the project.
Yeah, you mentioned working with Chris Brown's producer. I actually was going to ask you, were you planning on covering one of his songs? Because I had a song in mind for you to cover, but I'm not sure if you heard of it before. It's called Beautiful People.
I don't know about that, but I love Chris. I went to his concert when he was here in Detroit. So I'm a big fan of Chris Brown, and he does some of his best songs that I like is when he does collaborations. You know, like that one he did with Fat Joe, and just a lot of songs. What is this? Sensational. You know, he does, anytime he does a collaboration. So he's got so many hits, not just his own, but he got a lot of hits with collaborations. So man, I would love for some type of way, man, I could do a collaboration or something like that with him. You know, they say he costs about $100,000 just to get him on. So I ain't there yet, but hey, I'm gonna put it out there.
Definitely put it out there, because that's going to be a hot collaboration on its hands right there, you know?
Yeah.
So I got to ask you this question. It's not random, but it's like in between. But if Detroit had like a soundtrack, what 3 songs, yours or others, would be on it, and why?
Detroit has a sound. Well, you know what? I like that tune by McFadden and Whitehead. Ain't no stopping us now. Ain't no stopping us now.
Hey.
On the move. So I don't know. I maybe had out. So I wrote a song called Just Like You, you know, and so that's basically saying, hey, I want to, I want to kiss somebody just like you. I want to you know, hang out with somebody just like you. So it's like a perfect situation that you are, that I'm manifesting, you know. So have you heard that one yet? Did you listen to it, Just Like You?
No, not yet, but I plan to after this interview.
Yeah, it's a nice, the video is nice too, you know. And so I purposely, they're all really young, pretty young girls. And so I had a dark skin, light skin, I had Hispanic, so I had a different flavors. So I was saying like, okay, in my mind I said, okay, I want somebody just like you. So I'm putting myself over here for somebody, everybody got something that they like. So that was kind of what I was thinking with that.
That's smart.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so that's two. And then a third one that would say, tell me.
Okay, so if you had to, do a soundtrack for Detroit, 3 songs, yours or others, what would be on that soundtrack and why?
Now this, and then you know what? Now this is real random, but you know what I listen to all the time and I love, and I'm not what's this guy Nipsey? Is it Nipsey Hussle? And he talk about the grind. What is that song?
The Marathon?
It's
Hold on.
what is that? He's just talking about, well, you know that money, something about Nipsey Hussle, and he talking about his grind. It's like anyway, I was just thinking about that because
Grinding all my life.
yes,
Yeah, I had to look it up.
yes. So I don't know, that was real random right there, but that reflects my story. I've been grinding all my life. So I don't know, I've never said that before, but there you go. I'm gonna go with that.
For sure.
Hey, low key now, this my low key, as my grandson says, I love rap and I want to be able to try to figure me a rap tune out some kind of way. I want to do some Reggie Braxton style. So
Yes.
I really enjoy some rap when they got some really nice music with it and they flowing. So, but anyway, there you go.
No, that's cool. I like that. Now you got an idea of what your next project is going to kind of feel like a little bit. You can throw some hip hop in there,
Yeah, you know who did that? Like Kim, he's a native Detroiter too, from here. I believe Kim is from here. And then he did something with Rick Ross, which I thought was kind of sweet. So he has a smooth sound, and then Kim is really a great writer. And then, so he's, I like that collaboration that he did with Rick Ross. Everything can work if you feel it.
Yeah, that's true. And you threw a lot of good points in there in the beginning of the interview when you were like, you got to know what you're singing. You got to study the lyrics. So, if it's something that you feel, it's going to come good out your mouth, But if you're singing something you don't really know what you're talking about, it's going to be like blah, blah, blah or whatever. But that's why I said the album, it was good,
Thank you.
You're so welcome. So, Reggie, tell me, what you got planned music-wise for 2026?
Well, I'm going to do some thoughts that came. I'm definitely going to do more. I actually tonight, it's a song that I've been working on that I wrote. So I'm really excited about going to the studio tonight to put something down. So I just have been encouraged with my writing and to get the kind of feedback that I've been getting on songs that I wrote. And so I'm going to do more of that. And so I'm excited about that. And a lot of times I think you get messages too about what you want to do in confirmation. So I've been getting those kind of messages and vibes like, okay, man, this is what you're supposed to, it's like a guy first game out and he give him 30 points. He said, well, he's got a lot of potential with this. Yeah, so I want to do that. And I thought about too, of doing some really great, like a jazz. One of the things I want to do, because that was my, I spent a lot of years doing that type of music. And so I have to get that out of me at some point. I'm not certain of how that's going to roll out. And then I'm always known to add my own little, whatever my flavor is, whatever I hear. And that comes from the jazz vein in terms of, adding whatever you feel, because it changes all the time. I remember reading something about Billie Holiday, and she says, if I do the song the same time, the same way every time, how could that be real? Because I feel differently all the time. So I kind of embrace that too, and you ain't locked in, and then it's gonna be good. So.
Definitely. You mentioned Billie Holiday. I just want to briefly mention her. I love me some Billie Holiday. What's your favorite song by Billie?
Well, I think what was that? I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank. Mama may have, Papa may have. Did she do that? God bless the child as he own. Was that Billie Holiday?
I think she did that song. She might have. If she didn't do that song, she covered it.
She covered it, yeah. But that's not what I was. Because my grandmother was a big Billie Holiday fan, and I remember asking her, because when I first heard her, I thought that because she was doing the time with Ella Fitzgerald and Sarah Vaughan, and I really thought that they had better voices. And then so she says, well, Billie Holiday was just slick, she was like the people's, people really loved her, and her style, and just she was just the real deal, you know what I'm saying, in terms of how she would feel those songs and things like that. And so but yeah, I'm drawing a blank now. I can't come up with anything. Did she do what was that? I was thinking about Diana Ross, and no, I can't think. I'm drawing a blank. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
But she had a great history in terms of in terms of what she was. She's kind of a freedom fighter. She stood up and like "Strange Fruit." I know that was a famous song.
Yes.
That was so meaningful that she did, but yeah.
Okay. Well, Reggie, it was a blessing and a pleasure to have you on today's show. I really enjoyed my conversation with you, and I just want to leave on a good note and to tell you, whatever it is, brother, that you got working on, feel free to send it my way if you want some feedback, because I love music. That's just what I do,
Yeah, now I seen your hip hop, and I'm saying, wow, to be wanted to have the opportunity to with your name, MzHipHop, to want to, and Makita told me she liked your music too, so I was flattered by that. But when I look at the analytics of my music, majority of people that listen to my stuff is like, people your age, and I just seen that the other day. I was surprised to get that kind of feedback like that. But I do have a lot of young people say, man, I really like what you're doing,
Definitely. Well, again, thank you so much, Reggie, for coming on today's show. Like I said, it was a blessing having you here, and I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful weekend and the rest of the season.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Peace.
Peace.